Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. 14 Trans Nzoia MCAs were flown to Nairobi for a meeting in Karen Hotel over what insiders are revealing as a plan to impeach George Natembeya if he continues to coalesce around the opposition team. And in this podcast, straight away, we'll explain to you why the rising profile of Natembeya, the Trans Nzoia governor, is rattling William Ruto's handlers. We're looking at the best way forward to consolidate the Western vote. Politics at the center of that impeachment motion. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get into all this, I want to humbly request you to subscribe to our channel, because here we serve in-depth analysis. We go beyond the headline. We explain what is hidden and look at the political perspective of every event or every activity by the political players. And good shout out. This week, we were actually reaching out to our US viewers who are yet to subscribe. This is how you subscribe. You click that notification button there so that when we publish our videos, you will get hooked. And of course, quite a number of clicks. Those were clicking but had not subscribed. George Natembeya has been camping in Malava for that Malava by-election, facing off with Farouk Kibet, the president's PA who has turned to be the UDA campaign operative in Malava constituency. And I'm a bit interested to understand why it looks like Farouk has taken personal responsibility to campaign in Malava. There are by-elections in Bere, Malava, and other areas. Everyone seemed to now change tactic and head to Bere to face off with Gachagua, while Farouk Kibet is much interested in camping in Malava. And this is Natembeya's brushing shoulders with Farouk Kibet.
Taifa la Kenya, nyinyi watu wa Malava mutaonyesha Kenya kwamba Waluya wamekomaa kisiasa. Waluya wanaweza kuchagua mtu yao bila kushurutishwa na mtu. Waluya wa Malava watachagua Sedi Panyako bila kushurutishwa na mtu. Na kwamba sisi hatutagawa kura yetu vile tumekuwa tunagawa. Tumekuwa watu wanatuangalia kama jokers, kama comedians. Kila mtu anakuja Western kutafuta kura. Wanakuja wanadanganya kwamba ukipigia Sedi Panyako atumeenda kwa upinzani. Hii mambo wala ambao wamekaa kwa serikali, ni nini serikali imewafanyia? Wanadanganya watu, wanakuja wanamwaga mawe, wanamwaga kokoto na malori, wakitoka wanaenda na hiyo kokoto. Wanaona sisi ni wajinga, ati Waluya ni wajinga, ni kama kuku ukimtupia mahindi hivi anaingia mrute unamshika. Tarehe 27 we have got a date with destiny. Hata kama una hate Panyako, kama utaki Panyako na unapenda jamii yetu, tarehe 27 ni siku ya kupigia jamii yetu kura. Tunaanza kujikomboa. Juzi nilikuwa naambia watu wetu ni kwamba hata katika idara ya polisi tangu tupate uhuru miaka 23 iliyopita hakuna Mluya amesimamia kitango cha polisi. Waluya Wakale wamesimamia mara 10, Wakale sijui mara 20, Wakamba sijui mara ngapi, lakini Mluya hakuna. Kwa sababu ya ile siasa ambayo tunapiga. Kwa jeshi hakuna. Nilipiga kelele juzi wakaweka mmoja ndio vice wa Chief of Defense Forces. Lakini kabla waende round, waende kwa jeshi, waende wapi, huyu mjamaa wetu atakuwa ameretire. Hata kuwa mkubwa wa jeshi. Lakini rais amepanga, kwa sababu kuna sheria kwamba mmoja akitoka kwa army, yule anafuata anaenda kwa natoka kwa Navy, yule anafuata anatoka kwa Air Force. ameweka mtu yake hapo karibu na hapo. Huyu akitoka, huyu kahariri kutoka Kiambu akitoka, ni huyu Mkala narudi.
Political dynamic in Mulembe Nation is changing. And I think after months of denial, it is becoming a reality that you cannot wish away Natembeya access in Mulembe Nation. The man who is the brainchild of Tawe movement, his politics is not sitting pretty well. And according to this report that has already been captured in this newspaper here, the Natembeya, the 14 MCAs met Wetangula and Mudavadi in a Karen hotel in what has firmly been established as laying ground for impeachment of George Natembeya. The reports that Natembeya could be part of the presidential ticket in the opposition docket does not sit well with William Ruto and his Mulembe handlers, who believe that they would want to weigh on consolidated Mulembe vote to replace the not so sure Mount Kenya vote that seemed to be swinging towards Rigathi Gachagua. And probably this hint by Khalwale that William Ruto should negotiate with him and Natembeya for Mulembe vote is telling more about his plan. But I curiously saw something, a political happening the other day, when I don't really understand this. Khalwale is the chief whip of government in the Senate. The chief whip of government was ejected from the Senate because he made a statement that Uhuru Kenyatta is the person who helped the two Kenyans who were abducted in Uganda. And I rather say this, that I think Boni Khalwale is a marked man, and his association with Natembeya, the fact that he was ejected in the Senate on this flimsy ground, I want to play for that video. You'll really see. I saw that that yesterday, and I felt Kingi acted. I think that act was a bit too harsh for him, if you ask me.
It concerns me on this issue of these young children who are out of the country. They are no different from the two Kenyan political activists who were locked up in Uganda for a long time. It disturbs me that it took the intervention of the former president and not the current president. This House is supposed to remind the executive that, Mr. Speaker, that if you get bonga points by interfering me at home, go and do it in the
What is your point of order? What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, you know, we must be stickler of the rules. Standing Order 105, statement of fact. When the senator, who happens to be the chief whip of government, goes on record and says that former president intervened on release of Kenyans, can he provide that evidence before this House? Because we don't want ECS, say, in Chang'an drinking dens in Kolomani to get to the floor of the House. He should just take Chang'an and stay there. Don't bring those things here. So can he withdraw or substantiate?
Order.
Can he withdraw?
Order.
Can he substantiate?
Order. There's some Kenyans who are released from Uganda pursuant to the intervention by the former president as opposed to the current president. We need, the point of order is that factual? If yes, would you provide the evidence? If you cannot provide the evidence, you proceed to withdraw and apologize and proceed to conclude your thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I like your tone. You should further advise the Senator of Nandi that he is decades away from my experience in parliamentary palace. If he wasn't, he would be knowing that in this parliament a ruling has been made that a member is not expected to substantiate the obvious. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Speaker, sir, I was saying this with maximum respect. You wait until it is your relative or yourself who has been locked in Uganda.
Senator Boni, a point of order has been brought to you after having stated that the former president intervened for the release of 2 Kenyans from Uganda. Is that factual? And if it is, would you produce the evidence? If you can't, withdraw, apologize, and conclude your thoughts.
Mr. Speaker, this habit of giving the impression that this floor offers an opportunity for intimidation of a member during debate, it actually negates.
But I can assure you, I have said, I have chosen to keep quiet for the reason that Kenyans died to have freedom of expression and speech. Please understand these things. We were there before you were not there.
Now, honorable senators, you are choosing to stay silent, Honorable Kalwale. Therefore, it means that you failed to substantiate, and the natural consequence will flow. I will therefore rule you out of order and ask you to leave the chamber for the remainder of today's sitting. I've made a ruling, Honorable Boni. I have given you more than 15 minutes to do what this. No, I've already done the ruling. You walk out of the chamber.
And Bon Khalwale hinting at this is something that cannot be wished away. So Khalwale is being knocked out, and he has teamed up with Natembeya. That chemistry is not one that can be wished away. William Ruto needs the Kakamega vote, the Trans Nzoia vote, the Vihiga vote, the Busia vote, the Bungoma. They need that vote like yesterday. MCAs were flown to a Nairobi hotel, of course, through the Eldoret airport. And that flight, and of course, all that seemed to have been well funded by powerful force from Nairobi. I need to say that impeachment was enshrined in the 2010 Constitution as an oversight tool. But over and above, it has been weaponized for political and personal gain. And instead of legislators using it as an oversight tool, they've often used it for coercion, for extortion, and also it has been made available at the convenience of leaders above to fix politics. The irony of this is that while these MCAs were meeting for an impeachment about the governor in Nairobi, ravaging floods swept residents, and the victims were crying for support. The rise of Natembeya political rating has been a big problem for President Ruto. And the vocal Trans Nzoia boss has been earmarked for poaching Ruto team, promising him a smooth ride, cruising to his second term as a governor if he decides to work with William Ruto. And let me show you the delicate balance Natembeya is in. Trans Nzoia County is dominated by outsiders. Quite a number of good Kalenjin, the Nandi, Axis, and the Kipsigis are living in Trans Nzoia, and they constitute a significant voting bloc. Now, if you look at the profile of competitor profile for Natembeya, in that county, it is only one person. It can only be from UDA party or the Ford Kenya. What does that say about it? It only shows that if Natembeya is to face a threat as a governor, in a threat in his re-election, it can only come from two. And according to how he's been approached, he's been promised that he will not have to face any competition if he decides to go against the others. Ruto handlers have made unsuccessful attempts to lure the DAP-K governor to their side in vain. Why Natembeya power play unsettles Kenya Kwanza is something I would want us to pay attention to keenly. Natembeya has emerged as the voice of DAP Kenya, and it seems DAP-K unsettles the traditional structures of influence that William Ruto was backing on. The traditional structures of influence in Western is Atuoli's axis, self-styled kingpin of self-proclaimed kingpin elder of Mulembe Nation. There is the Ford Kenya, and I'm so excited of this because I want to get it right. There is the Ford Kenya axis that is patroned by none other than Moses Masika Wetangula. And you can add into this list. It is a list that this is it. So the energy that Natembeya injects is threatening the others who really feel that they're legitimate owners of the crowds. The second factor where this impeachment could be floated as a threat, Natembeya's presence in the presidential ticket with Kalonzo will be a big takeover for Mulembe Nation. The fact that Mount Kenya is willing to relinquish its interest in the top seat would pave way for the opposition to craft any ticket and present before the people. And one of the rough ones I had seen is the possibility of Kalonzo, Natembeya, Matiang'i probably being at the top. Of course, the president, probably running mate, and a prime cabinet secretary. That had been crafted as one of the probable tickets that could be presented. Now, this is one that William Ruto will not want to envision, because in any case, Natembeya would be on ballot. Then several members of parliament, those who are seeking members of parliament, will find it easy and comfortable to coalesce around his candidature. Remember, politics is local. If William Ruto is handing over running mate slot to Kindiki, and then on the other end, Mulembe Nation have a deputy slot in opposition, then that matrix is going to change. And that is why probably they're trying to pluck Natembeya from it. However, I think he's a big threat to the two gentlemen, Mudavadi and Wetangula. I don't think Wetangula will have the strength, will be the speaker in the next house. And even if he becomes a speaker, now they will be speaker of the National Assembly or the speaker of the Senate. Mudavadi and Wetangula have been at the negotiation table. And the gentleman is coming to shake that table. And probably his intention is to take it over. So Mudavadi and Wetangula, it will be in their interest to splash millions and the cash they have to destroy Natembeya before Natembeya destroys them. So this is fact. Remember, in politics, there is nothing like loyalty. There is nothing like you are my friend, you are my brother. The friendship is in the boardroom. But when it comes to the political matrix, people are looking at the numbers. If the intelligence tells President Ruto that the Mulembe vote is with Natembeya, then Ruto will have no option but to find ways on how he can work with Natembeya. But I want to say something in terms of this impeachments. Even I've seen Nyaribo, the Nyamira governor, is also facing an impeachment. Impeachment was ordinarily an oversight tool. But I think it is being abused that if an impeachment has to be pushed from some corridors, then what needs to be done is capacity building, funding of the assemblies, so that these impeachments that look like they have been manufactured are not in good spirit, and they may not achieve the objective that is intended for it. This is not going to be achieved easily if we will allow impeachment to happen at the convenience of some factors or some forces. How I wish we would want the country, and for me, I crusade for good governance. We would want the country, when impeachments are brought, for them to parade this and this is what this person has done and why this person not need to serve, should not continue serving as a governor. But politically convenient removal motions, they always fall because they're short-lived, they lack the substance, and it's just emotional battalion that have been grouped together to serve a political purpose. Thank you.